Hey guys, Chris here. Today I'm going to be doing a double review of my new Seiko SNXS79 watch and the new 100 gecs song. So I don't even know what to start with. I think I'll just start with the watch. So this came in the post office today. Um, I actually ordered it literally on Sunday, which for it to get ordered on Sunday and arrive on Friday is actually like pretty much a world record for the post office at this point. Let's just say they're not doing so hot otherwise, but came in the mail today, pretty, pretty good, I mean, packed decently. I mean, I thought it was going to be a little more packed, but I guess this person has clearly shipped watches with not a huge amount of packing in them, and they've turned out fine. I mean, there's a lot of cushioning in the original boxes, so, but anyway, very nice looking box here, Seiko. You have, I mean, it's just a pretty standard watch box. You open it up, you get, I actually organized this a little bit better. You have this little Seiko pillow. I think this thing was upside down. Hopefully this isn't, I mean, it had all the stickers on it, it should be new. But this is already sized up for me, of course, for my tiny ass little wrist. And here's a look at it. Just a nice, really nice, nice watch. Like, nice and small. Nothing huge. I mean, a lot of watches nowadays are big bling bling type watches, but this is just kind of a hark back to just smaller kind of proportions, which is really what, watches used to be. They were just smaller. Let me do some measurements here. I think it's 37 millimeters in diameter, if I remember correctly. Or no, I'm sorry, about 37. The lug to lug, or commonly known as height of it, is about, call it 42 and a half millimeters. It's a little bit, well, it's not really that thick. It's about 11 millimeters thick. I mean, if you want more if you want more precise specifications, go watch some other watch channels on YouTube. They have more specific specifications. But this is, of course, a Seiko 5. Now, what does the 5 mean? If I can remember this correctly. Day, date, shock resistant, water resistant. It's not really water resistant at all. It's got basic splash proofness, and I think automatic. I want to say that's the 5th pillar of what Seiko 5 is. Seiko 5, of course, being kind of a branch of Seiko. It's their most basic branch. It goes Seiko 5, Seiko Prospects, all these other Seikos, and of course on top is Grand Seiko. I'd love to have a Grand Seiko someday. But this is a good little watch. Like, I wore this all day. Not all day. It came at about 1:30. I wore it to work. Work ended at like 7, so I've been wearing it for good 8 hours at this point. No. Been wearing it about 6 hours at this point. Because it took me a while to size up. The biggest thing, in terms of the case that I was scared about was this kind of UFO shape and how it sits on my wrist. But it really isn't that terrible. Like, people were saying, oh my gosh, there's this huge gap between your wrist and the case, and it's gonna look terrible, and it really looks not that bad. I learned a little bit of something today. I was telling that to my mom. I was like, the worst part of this wasn't even that bad. She was like, well, Chris, to me it just looks like a watch. And I was like, you're absolutely right, Mom. It is just that, I mean, if you're into something, you really know the differences between that and other things, and you get caught up on little details, but with something like this, you really just have to realize what it is at the end of the day. The reason I got this was this beautiful dial, though. And this video will do it no justice whatsoever, but it's got this, like, they call it a sunburst effect, where it's like, you can just swirl it and just see the light just swirl on it. It's awesome. A lot of people have compared this design to the Rolex Datejust. I see where they're coming from with the basic hands and just rectangular, how are these things? Indices, so like hour markers. And I like that design a lot. It's not as Rolexy as my Invicta Pro Diver here, which is basically a, not rip-off. I mean, it is a rip-off of the Rolex Submariner, but of course, it's clearly an Invicta. You got Invicta etched here. There's like 3 different Invicta logos on the dial. There's Invicta on the bottom clasp. It's clearly an Invicta. And what do these things, 2 things have in common is not really their movements, but who the movements are made by. These are both, of course, Seiko movements. I mean, not so, of course, for this one, but this has a Seiko movement. This has a Seiko movement. This is a bit older Seiko movement, so when you pull out the crown, the set time, the second hand doesn't stop, whereas on my Invicta it does, because it's a bit newer and I guess more mass-produced movement, because it's used in a lot of things, a lot of different watches. But with this one, this is their older, I think 7S26 movement, whereas that's the NH35A. And I mean, I don't care. You know, this is my first watch that I have where the second hand doesn't stop. And it's like people make this like a make or break deal. Like, they're like, oh, you know what? This watch is beautiful. I love it. I love the design of it, but I can't get it because it doesn't, the second hand doesn't stop when I pull out the crown. It's like, who cares? Like, who cares? And I think in my last video, I was like, oh, I don't get why people hate Invicta. And I get now why people hate Invicta, because Invicta really has no originality. And when they do, it's just disgusting looking. Like, I wish I could show you some pictures of just monstrous Invicta watches. And of course, really, there are other watches that they bandwagon off Rolex. These things, so they call it the Pro Diver. It's supposed to be Rolex. It's supposed to look like a Rolex Submariner. So of course, there's really no originality there. I mean, it's really just what it's supposed to be. I mean, man, I'm cold. I am just so cold in my room here. But with this Seiko, it's got much more originality. It's not like a homage watch. I mean, it has visual cues that that the Rolex Datejust has, but it's clearly its own thing. Like, it is unmistakably a Seiko watch. And it's simple, but not minimalist. I think minimalist watches are dumb. They look stupid. Most of the time, they're not even that good quality. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's some quality watchmakers that make minimalist watches, but I just don't, they're just not my thing. And besides, they're not my look. I mean, but this is simple enough, but again, not minimalist. And it, really the only complaint I have with this watch is nothing to do with like the watch part of it itself. I think it's beautiful. It's got a good movement in it. You can see it back here just kind of doing its thing. You can swirl it around. Oh yeah, you can't hand wind it, so the only way to power it up is by doing what people call the Seiko shuffle. But my really only complaint for this, apart from the kind of pathetic water resistance, like, they say 30 meters, but 30 meters does not mean 30 meters. So if you, little point of warning here, if you have a watch and it says water resistant to 30 meters, you don't want to do more than the dishes with that thing. Trust me. But with this, yeah, so really no water resistance. My biggest complaint, though, is this really, not terrible looking, but just not well-designed bracelet, or strap, whatever you want to call it. It looks decent enough. I mean, the only look thing I don't like about it is the fact that if you look closely, it's matte and the rest of the watch is chrome. I mean, they clearly skimped out on the right area, because I would much rather have it have a crappy bracelet, which you can always replace, instead of having the rest of the watch be crappy, but, you know, still have a better bracelet, you know. But I don't really care so much that it doesn't match. My biggest issue with this is I don't know if this is just the way that I have to wear it just because I have a small wrist and I have to take off a lot of links, but on paper it should be good because what you want is you want the clasp to be as close to the bottom middle of your arm as you can have it, which it almost is. It pretty much is at the center. But the problem, I don't know if you can see this, but see how it just kind of makes this edge here? That's because this clasp is so long. It is absurdly and unnecessarily long. Like on my Invicta, it's not that long. It's kind of, I mean, it's not that much shorter, but like, you know, little millimeters matter in watches because it's like, it's not like a, you know, doing your driveway. Actually, interestingly enough, well, no. I mean, the Invictus is, oh, I see where it's smaller. It's smaller where it needs to be smaller, but this thing is just massive. And like, compare it to like my old watch that I used to wear all the time, it's still smaller than that. Or it's bigger than that. And it just goes up, you know, it just climbs up my arm and it just doesn't sit on it all that well. I mean, the watch sits on my arm just fine, but it's just, I notice, probably nobody notices but me, but I just noticed that little protrusion right here. And of course it's really not on this side, but it's only on this side. But I mean, I'm gonna replace this band anyway. I mean, I think I'm either gonna put a fancier metal one or maybe a leather one on. I mean, because this thing would look good in either. But I mean, that's pretty much my review for this. Like this is actually kind of a full circle watch for me because back in April, I bought a different version of this one. It was instead of the dark gray dial, it was the silver dial and slightly kind of gold painted. Give me a second here. Slightly gold painted hour markers and hands. So it looked kind of cornier, but whatever. It was the same watch basically. But this was April. This was months before I started doing watch research. I started doing watch research in like late September. So this was far before I really knew anything about them. And I bought I bought it and I was like trying to change the date and it was in like Arabic, but this is supposed to be a dual language date wheel. And I didn't know that at the time. I was like, wait, why is it Arabic? I was so confused. And then I was setting the time, but then I read in the instruction manual, you're not supposed to change the date between like, I don't know, 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. And I was like, oh crap, what if I messed it up? So I ended up returning it like an idiot, even though I probably didn't mess anything up, but who knows, maybe I did. But I've just been thinking about that watch ever since. I was like, what if I just had it, you know? And then I did some more research and this is just a better version of it. It's got a better color scheme. It's the only one with like they call it, or not they call it, the people call it a sunburst kind of dial. But yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I feel like I'm not gonna be taking this to work. This is too nice of a watch for me I mean, I took it to work today, just kind of flex it, but this is just gonna be a church watch and maybe around the house for me. Second part of the review, new 100 gecs song. It's fucking awesome. It's called Me, Me, Me. And apart from the pretentious sounding title, which has nothing to do with, I mean, it does have something to do with the song, but, you know, reading the title out loud makes it sound like me, 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 you know, but it's more like me, me, me. And in the song, it's like, or I'm not going to explain the whole song, but it's, I'll put it this way, it's a banger. It is a certified banger. I've listened to it about 5 or 6 times today. And you would need one of those scopes that doctors look into your ears into to see where you're going, and some very precise pliers to be able to pull this song out of my head and out of my ears, because it has just been stuck there all day. And it's awesome. And it's so catchy, and it's like, it has ska in it, parts of, or it has kind of ska in it. It's got, of course, traditional 100 gecs electronic. There's only a little bit of auto-tune. You heard me right. 100 gecs song with only a tiny bit of auto-tune. And I don't even know if one of the members even is auto-tuned in it. Because Dylan Brady, he definitely has less auto-tune. Well, the elephant in the room of the song is that Laura Les is no longer auto-tuned to shit. So you can hear her loud and clear without auto-tune. Dylan Brady actually, for once, has more auto-tune. And the auto-tune in that song is his auto-tune in that song, I should say, is very, very comparable to the amount of auto-tune he had in his 2018 EP called Peace and Love. If you listen to that EP and you listen to Me after, you will hear Dylan Brady with the pretty much exact same amount of auto-tune. Not much auto-tune for Laura though. So it's interesting. And I was privileged enough to see that song live first before hearing the studio version, because they just dropped the studio version last night at about 11 p.m. I think. And I was not about to listen to that before I went to sleep because I had to get up kind of early this morning. So I was like, you know, this song's just going to excite the hell out of me and I'm not going to be able to sleep. So I just saved it for this morning. And like I said, I listened to it like 5 or 6 times today, and it's awesome. I cannot wait for this new album. I've been waiting for a new 100 gecs album ever since I started listening to him. Because you only got like 40 minutes of total material, unless you count all the remixes, which I have not listened to that. I've listened to that album once. 100 gecs and the Tree of Clues, the remix album of 1000 gecs. I listened to it once last summer, and I have not touched it since. There's 2 songs in there that are not remixes. They're original songs. Came to My Show and Toothless. But those, apart from that, I have not touched that album at all, and I really should. But awesome song. Really just awesome. Like, I heard it live, and I was like, this is awesome. And oh yeah, I can make a whole video about that concert. That concert was so cool. Like, just standing in line, like, I was just talking to random people, and they were like, one dude was like, hold on, I'll be back in a few minutes, and he just got us all a case of beer, and we were just drinking beer in line, and then some security guy came out and was checking IDs, but I already finished mine, so he didn't check mine. And then the concert itself was just phenomenal. Like, I have never been like that happy to be at a concert, like in the moment. Like, before I was stressed as hell. Like, I was so stressed for some reason on the way there. But like, the minute the 2 of those people walked out, I was like, holy fuck, let's go, you know? And they only played for like literally not even, it was probably right on the nose, like 45 minutes that they played. Like, they didn't play everything they have, but I'm sure if they played everything that they have, it would only be like an hour, probably. Hour and 15 minutes maybe. But that was an awesome concert. And this is an awesome watch. And the new 100 gecs song is awesome. Listen to it. It's called Me. And this video is getting really long. I cannot believe that I've just been sitting here yapping for 19 minutes long. So I will see you guys in the next one.